Yes, hello folks, welcome back to part 2 of my Blu-ray collection. We're carrying on now. Last time I spoke about films from my collection regarding A to D. Today we're doing E to J, including J. So I'm just gonna go and start immediately now and not waste time blabbering. I'm still actually ill, as you can hear, so this is why I'm doing this video. But anyway, here we go. Number 1, starting with E. Earthquake. Indeed, Earthquake is one of my absolute favorites because, as I said in my last video, I love 70s disaster movies, and this is a prime example of a great 70s disaster movie. This is not my favorite disaster movie, but it's certainly a gem from the 70s, in my opinion. It was also the first film, I think, to use surround sound, which was like sound that you felt. It was so loud that it vibrated in your body, so when the earthquake actually comes, you can really feel it. And it got a lot of critique in the 70s because a lot of people had to go to the hospital after seeing the film because they got tremors through their bodies. Okay, something completely different. Eastern Promises. Indeed, this is a film by David Cronenberg, who also did The Fly and amongst other movies. Great director. This is a great film with Viggo Mortensen. It's the second film that they're doing together, David Cronenberg and Viggo Mortensen. The first one is A History of Violence, which I also have, which I'll show you in the next video, I guess. This is a pretty brutal film. It's great. Highly recommended if you want to have kind of a gangster, brutal, Russian-style violence kind of film. I don't know what if that makes sense, but this is actually good if you like those kind of films. I can't say too much about this because I've seen it once only, and it's called Elephant. Strange title. It's not about an elephant. It's not about any animals. This film won, I believe, Best Movie in Cannes in like 2004 or 2005. It's directed by Gus Van Sant, which is a great director. I believe he's passed away recently. Inspired by the school shootings in Columbine, which Michael Moore also did the documentary Bowling for Columbine. This is a sort of a movie version of that. Quite disturbing and shocking that kids can take guns and just go to school and shoot. You know the stories. We hear it almost every year, especially from the States. It's tragic, but that is what this film is about. Elephant. Okay, last time I talked about a film called Chappie, which I haven't seen yet, by a director who did District 9. Neil Blomkamp is the name of the director. So between District 9 and Chappie, he also made a film with Matt Damon, and it's called Elysium. Maybe some of you have seen it. This film is a film that I really enjoy. I mean, Neil Blomkamp does great science fiction, in my opinion. This is why I bought Chappie, which I haven't seen yet, because I just trust in his ability to do good science fiction. And I'm not a fan of science fiction, really, too much. But this is an interesting idea, I thought. It's not the best movie in the world. Certainly good, though, I think. It's interesting to have an idea about that all the poor and corrupt people are, back on Earth, and there's an alternate Earth just above Earth, between the Earth and the Moon, where all the rich and privileged people live in a beautiful, crime-free environment. And you can travel kind of between. That's what this movie is about. So I recommend this if you like science fiction. Okay, this is going to be tough to talk about because I have so much to say about this, but I'm going to try and keep it short. I am a big fan of The Fast and the Furious. This is a box with, I'll open it, with 4 films. It's the Fast and the Furious 1, 2, and then 3 and 4 on the other one. They look like this. I'm not sure I'm holding it in the right order. It should be like this, I guess. 1, 2, 3, 4. I really liked the Fast and the Furious. I thought it was fresh, exciting, and really up to date when it first came in 2001. But what's really remarkable about this franchise, in my opinion, are the characters. You can make any crazy action film with amazing effects and explosions. These films have heart, in my opinion. It's really about Vin Diesel and Paul Walker, those two characters, and the friends they build and have around themselves in these films. And I really cherish these films. These are great films, in my opinion. I think if you don't get the Fast and the Furious, then you don't get the whole point of it, which is about family and respect, and that's what it's really about. But of course, the main plot in the first 4 films are street racing. I'm not gonna go like too deep. I wish I could go too deep into the discussion of each film. I'm just gonna say that the titling of these films are crazy, because I don't think even the actors themselves know, the exact titles of them. But because I know that Empire Magazine did an interview with them when Fast and Furious 6 came out, and they asked them, name all the titles in correct order. And none of the actors who star in these films could say the exact titles of these films. It is really complex, because the first film is called The Fast and the Furious, and the 4th film is called Fast and Furious, but without the in the title. I would say, when I saw the first one, I really liked it, so I went to see the second one, and the second one doesn't have Vin Diesel, which was one of the key ingredients why I like these films. So that was sort of a missed opportunity. And then when the 3rd film came out, that's called The Fast and the Furious Tokyo Drift. It takes place in Japan. It's got completely different characters, none of the original cast. I saw the film, I was disappointed. It's still got great action, but I was disappointed that the fact that the characters that I liked from the first and the second film were not there. And that just goes to show that the characters are the most important in a film. When a couple of years later they made Fast and Furious, which is number 4, and they all announced that all the original people were going to come back, I was ecstatic. I was so happy, and the film was a joy. But at that time, when the 4th film came, I felt also that it got a little bit tedious. It got a little bit stretched out, the whole street racing theme. So I thought, that was great to see them all back again, but let's maybe kind of end it now. So I was very kind of worried when they were going to make the 5th one, because I thought, this is not good. The 5th is usually bad lucky number. But boy, did they blow me away with number 5, because they took it into a completely different direction, and it just became a heist movie. It was wonderful. And I have Fast and the Furious 5 here. It's in a steel book, excuse me. It is one of my favorite action films of all time, and if not one of the greatest action films ever made, in my opinion. Fast and Furious 5. Can you believe it? Number 5 in a movie series is actually the best one. This one has it all. This is the greatest action film ever, almost. Please don't kill me for saying that. But certainly in the Fast and Furious franchise, this is the best one. But I'd like to almost take it further than that. I think this is a fantastic action film. I love this film. So naturally, when number 6 came along, which I also have here, looks like this is also a steel book, one of these hardcovers. I love the steel books. They're expensive, as I mentioned in my last video. I was very excited to see this, but I lowered my expectation for number 6, because the number 5 went stratospheric. It was, I thought, remarkable, amazing action film. And this one is fantastic as well. It's certainly better than 1 to 4, but it's not as good as 5, which I expected it. to be. And but nevertheless, since I expected it to be not as good as 5, I still thought it was great. And it has, in my opinion, one of the funniest scenes at the end. It's a long action scene on a airplane runway, airport runway, and it's like a 15-20 minute sequence, and the plane's taking off, and they're jumping on board the plane, jumping off. The plane's taking off at the end, but it doesn't quite make it and falls back onto the runway. In real time, that runway would have been like from Paris to Berlin. So that's funny. But I love that the fact the filmmakers don't care about that, and that's what's appealing with it. They don't take it seriously. They know that's ridiculous, and that's what's fun about these films. Number 7, I'm not going to go into all that thing about Paul Walker. He died, but he's in part 7, and he's digitally in half of the movie. I don't have that film yet. I'm going to buy it, of course, and I'm looking forward to number 8. Can you believe it? A franchise that has 8. I think only Friday the 13th has like 8 parts. So I'm not going to talk about part 7. I will do that in another video because I could go on forever about these franchises. So enough about Fast and the Furious. Next movie. A Few Good Men. Yes, A Few Good Men is a great film, as everybody knows who's seen it. And I think a lot of you have seen this. Tom Cruise, Jack Nicholson, Demi Moore. What can go wrong? I want the truth. You can't handle the truth. Right. I guess they're better actors than me. Check it out. Great movie. Okay, another franchise which I liked, which is kind of a horror franchise. And I only, strangely enough, have part 4 on Blu-ray. Because I have part 1, 2, and 3 on DVD, and 4 on Blu-ray. And 5 I haven't bought yet. 5 is great. But this is, in my opinion, almost the weakest one, which is strange because it's Final Destination, and this is called The Final Destination because the first one is called Final Destination without the this time. This Blu-ray is kind of cool because it comes with 3D glasses, the old like 80s type of 3D, not the new really cool 3D. So, but that's just one of those extra. But you can watch it in regular 2D. This is not so great, but if you like the Final Destination franchise, you know, you can watch this. But it's not the best one. I like the premise of Final Destination because it's about death that's tries to catch you. You were supposed to die in an accident, but you saved yourself. But now death is chasing you. It's an interesting, I think, storyline. You have to excuse my voice. You know, I have blocked nose and everything, so that's why I have time to do this video. The Mighty Sean Connery. Oh yes. First Night. Richard Gere. Sean Connery. This is a good film. It's from 1995, so it's actually quite old now. But I remember actually when this came out in the cinema. That's how old I am. This Blu-ray's got a lot of special features. It's quite long, 133 minutes, but highly enjoyable. About love, really. You know, they're both in love with the same woman, and they fight for her. And he's the king, and he's the prince. Kind of a traditional old classics kind of story. You know, love triangle film. First Night, check it out. I saw this in the cinema and I thought it was funny. It's got a weird title. It's called Forgetting Sarah Marshall. It's really about what the title says. He's together with a girlfriend and she breaks up with him, and he's so heartbroken and he's so in love with her he cannot forget about her. So he follows her and he tries to win her back and everything. And it sounds kind of depressing, and in some scenes it is. It's kind of like but it is a comedy. It's kind of it's not a romantic comedy, but it's a comedy with a touch of sadness in it. But it's a funny comedy. So I recommend this, Forgetting Sarah Marshall. Okay, I mentioned this just a few minutes ago. You know, this series has so many parts, so I'm just going to show you which parts I have. It's the ultimate classic 1980s slasher film franchise, Friday the 13th. Yes, Friday the 13th Part 1, Friday the 13th Part 2, and Friday the 13th Part 2 is there. Sorry. And Friday the 13th Part 3. And Part 3 is really cool because it was made in 3D, again in 3D, the old classic 3D. It's got these Jason 3D glasses, which is cool. And the 3D is pretty cool, actually. It does give you a little headache if you watch an hour and a half with this, but the film was obviously made for 3D, and it looks terrible in 2D. But 3D is actually quite cool, so I'm happy they released this in 3D. I have the other films, you know, part 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 on DVD. But I do have Friday the 13th, the remake also. This is the remake from of the first movie. The first movie is from 1980, so it's quite old now. This is from 2013, I think. This is not so good. I'm skeptical sometimes to remakes. I'm not completely against remakes, but in some cases I am, and this was quite unnecessary. But as I'm a collector of franchises and movies in general, I need all parts, as you know. Okay, moving along to something a little bit more foreign, for you maybe, not for me. The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo trilogy. Yeah, this is the Swedish films. David Fincher did with Daniel Craig the remake, which I enjoyed also, but not as much as the Swedish films. When I saw these in the cinema here in Prague, I was shocked that like Swedish films were popular and were coming to, you know, cinema in Prague. So I just went to see them, and I was you know, blown away by the quality of this. This was like quite exciting and engaging thrillers based on the books many of you know and maybe have read. I enjoy these Swedish versions, although some people say that the David Fincher's American version is more accurate to the books. To the first book. I can't really comment because I haven't read the books, but I should. I like them. Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Alright, an actor who went from being cool to completely under the ground and has totally redeemed himself by suddenly directing is Ben Affleck. Gone Baby Gone, his first directing film, and he's directed I think 3 or 4 films, and they're all great, and this is the first one. Gone Baby Gone is a good thriller, engaging, quite disturbing, so I recommend this if you like thrillers and that kind of themed films. Ben Affleck really is, in my opinion, a really good director. He's a fine actor, but as a director, he really redeemed himself. I mean, I've never seen an actor gone from like being not popular at all and people just turn their backs to actually looking forward to seeing his next projects. And Ben Affleck has gone through that roller coaster, and I must say, I'm very happy that he's doing well and making these great films. Gone Baby Gone, good film. Okay, 1966. Grand Prix. If you love motor racing and like Formula One and things like what was the film called now? Recently regarding racing, I forgot now. Anyway, if you like race movies, this is the ultimate race movie. This is highly recommended. This is one of the greatest racing films of all time. It's like, you know, before computer effects, before any major special effects, this stuff was all done for real. All the crashes and and explosions that happen in this film were done for real. I think many stuntmen were hurt, and I think stuntmen even died during the making of this film. And it's got these camera angles, you know, where you can see a low angle close to the road, and you see the front wheel going really quickly, and the bends and turns, and the close-ups of the drivers, and it's intense. It's a little dated, but this is a great movie if you like car racing. Alright, last time I mentioned that I love Clint Eastwood, especially as a director. In this film he stars and he also directs Gran Torino. Good film. Not his best film, but certainly a good film. He plays a grumpy person that can shoot people, bad guys. It's a fine film. Maybe a nice kind of Saturday night movie. Check it out. Clint Eastwood. You can never go wrong with Clint Eastwood. Gran Torino. Okay, I only bought this film because I heard from others it was great, and then I bought it and I saw it and I was disappointed. I didn't quite like this film. I don't know why. It's called The Grey, Liam Neeson, and it's about, I think he's traveling in a plane and the plane crashes. Everybody dies except for him, and he's left in the woods and the mountains, and he has to fight wolves. And they're all digital wolves, and you can tell they're digital wolves. And it's got shaky cam, everything is dark, it's kind of bloody, and I cannot invest myself in that type of story, and especially if effects are not up to par. I don't know, some people really love this film. You know, you're allowed to love films that I hate and hate films that I love. Of course, that's what the beauty of film. But I have this film. I'm probably not going to watch this again. I don't know. It's called The Grey. Check it out if you want to. I love Will Smith. Will Smith, I grew up with Will Smith. You know, Bad Boys and all that stuff. This is not a fantastic film, but it's a fun film. Hancock. It's about a superhero, and I love the fact that this film is different from, you know, not like Spider-Man and Superman and Batman when all the superheroes are the heroes. He's certainly a hero here, but he doesn't want to be a superhero. He's just a drunk, homeless guy sleeping outside, doesn't want to help people because he's just tired of it, and he just wants to eat every day and sleep every day. And that's a funny twist on the superhero storyline. Hancock, check it out. Great effects. I mean, when he flies around and does his super tricks, very, very well done. Hancock, funny film. Good action. Okay, I don't know what to say about this. M. Night Shyamalan, I think there's no one on earth that can correctly pronounce his name, who did The Sixth Sense, which is a great film, Unbreakable, The Village, and Lady in the Water, and so on. I don't know if you know all those films. He did this film, which I have on Blu Ray. It's called The Happening. I've seen this once. I was disappointed. It's about something like the wind is evil, the nature is evil and is chasing you, and people die without reason, any explanation, and it's a mystery. It's supposed to be kind of a thriller, weird, scary film, but it's just very bland. I don't quite get it. I have to rewatch it, I think, again. Maybe I didn't get it. You know, write in the comments and help me understand films that I'm not understanding. The Happening, I want it because I collect films from this director, because I like a lot of films that he's done before, so this is why I wanted this. The Happening, Mark Wahlberg. Okay, so now we move on to Harry Potter. Yes, indeed, Harry Potter. I have these weird Blu-rays. It's like with part 1 on that side, and part 2 on that side, part 3 on that side, part 4 on that side, obviously part 5 on that side, part 6 on that side. The Harry Potter films are great. It's, you can never go wrong with Harry Potter. I love Harry Potter. I prefer Harry Potter to Lord of the Rings. Harry Potter is fantastic, and I love all of them. I think the greatest one is number 3, which is Prisoner of Azkaban, and the worst one is Order of the Phoenix, which is the 5th one. And I've read all the books, and I concur with my film review that the 3rd book is the best, like the film, and the 5th book is the worst, like the film. That's my opinion. You may have a different opinion. But I love Harry Potter. You can never go wrong, and I never get tired of Harry Potter. I just want to show you, of course, part 7. I have in these kind of 3D versions. This is Deathly Hallows Part 1, and Deathly Hallows Part 2 looks like that. I hope you can see that. It's like moving when I move the covers. These were kind of expensive, so I'm happy I have them. Okay. Here we have another case of me having Part 1 on DVD and Part 2 on Blu Ray. Hellboy 2, The Golden Army. Good sequel. Not as good as the first one in my opinion, which is usually the case in sequels. But this is cool, and I like this, if you want to call him a superhero. It's dark, but he's got a lot of comedy to him, the character of Hellboy. And it's Ron Perlman playing Hellboy, good actor. Hellboy 2, I recommend Hellboy 2. If you like the first one, check out the second one. It's good, in my opinion. Good effects. Guillermo del Toro is the director, and he's just really fascinating. His mind is full of fantasy, and he's a very detailed director. You watch the details in his films, and just the fantasy in all the films he makes is mind-blowing. So this is not his best film, but this is certainly a very good movie. Okay, next one is called Hidalgo. This film I saw in the cinema in 2004. It was the first film that Viggo Mortensen starred in after Lord of the Rings trilogy. Lots of landscape shots and lots of horse racing. It's about a horse race from, I can't remember, but it's across the desert somewhere. And, you know, so if you like horses and horse racing, and it has that epic old kind of feel to it, which I like. You know, Omar Sharif is in it, and anything Omar Sharif is in, you need to see. Omar Sharif, legendary actor. Hidalgo. Not fantastic film, but certainly has that sort of epic feel to it, which I like. Okay, David Cronenberg and Viggo Mortensen who starred in Eastern Promises. They made Eastern Promises, I showed you earlier. This is the first one that they made together. It's called A History of Violence. About a cafe owner who, I can't remember, has his memory erased, so he doesn't remember that he's an old hitman, so he can fight and shoot, but he doesn't know he has those qualities, until one day his cafe is, I think, robbed or something, and his true identity comes out. You know, and but he's living a quiet life with a family and a child, and he doesn't know that he has this past. This is a fantastic film, in my opinion. Good acting, good directing, kind of a small film, but intense. Good action scenes, fighting scenes. There's no blowing up stuff, but like fights and stuff. And it's good drama as well. A History of Violence. Very good film. Okay, Will Smith again. I'm just going to show you quickly. Hitch. Funny film about how to pick up dates. I know it's like silly, but yeah. Hitch is a funny film. I think most of you maybe have seen this. It's fairly simple, but it's a funny film. Lots of jokes, and Will Smith is a funny person. I like it. Okay, so this film is called Hitchcock. It's not starring Hitchcock. It's not made by Hitchcock. It's about Hitchcock. It's starring Anthony Hopkins as Hitchcock. And it's about the making of Psycho. The whole story behind the legendary movie Psycho. good performances, and Anthony Hopkins does a good impersonation of Alfred Hitchcock. It's not a fantastic film. You know, you can make a documentary about the making of Psycho, but they decided in this case to make a film about it, and it was enjoyable. I think it's a good film. It's not fantastic, but it's a good film. I like the ending shot of this film. The ending shot is good when Hitch just comes up to the camera or something and says, "Oh, I don't know where I'll find my next idea to my next movie," and a bird lands on his shoulder, and he looks at the bird and then looks at the camera and goes, "Hmm." And then that's how it ends, and that's nice because we all know that the birds, the classic birds that he made after the Psycho. That's a nice little touch. Martin Scorsese has done fantastic films. You cannot describe long enough about Martin Scorsese. But this was really like a step to the side for him, in my opinion. It's called Hugo, because it's kind of a kids movie. It's not really a kids... yeah, kids can definitely see this film. It's definitely a kids movie, but it's an adult movie also. It's one of the greatest love letters to film, as in general, you'll ever likely see. If you like film and understand the history of film, this is the film you have to see, Hugo, and see it in 3D. I mean real 3D, because it's one of the greatest films in 3D, excluding, I guess, Avatar. This comes in at number 2. This must be seen in 3D. Unfortunately, I don't have the possibility of seeing it in 3D. I just bought it because I want this, and one day I will see this in 3D. Hugo, check it out. A very strange Martin Scorsese film in many ways, because he's known for other types of films, not this kind of kids film, more serious in tone films, of course. Okay, back to the superheroes. The Incredible Hulk. I grew up with Incredible Hulk. I have the whole series of the Incredible Hulk. I'll show you that some other time. The classic 70s Incredible Hulk. This is the film from 2009, I believe, with Edward Norton, and it's part of the Marvel franchise whole package of, you know, Iron Man, Captain America, Hulk movie franchises, you know. So this is it's, the effects are, you know, not you have to really smile when you see this and not take it too seriously. It's kind of good fun, lots of muscle. Okay, now this film is very serious, and it is great. It's a Danish film called The Hunt, with Mads Mikkelsen. Mads Mikkelsen, the greatest Danish actor working. He was, if you might remember him from Casino Royale as Le Chiffre, the bad guy. He's a great actor, has a big career now in Hollywood. He plays Hannibal Lecter in the TV series now. This film is about, I think, a school teacher, a preschool teacher who gets accused of being a pedophile, and it is quite riveting. Check it out. Very good film, The Hunt. Okay, maybe some of you know the Tom Cruise, Paul Newman film, The Color of Money, but a lot of people don't know that The Color of Money is actually kind of a sequel to this film. It's called The Hustler, where Paul Newman stars as the same character as in The Color of Money by Martin Scorsese also. This film is not by Martin Scorsese. This is in black and white, but he plays the same character, and he kind of plays the Tom Cruise character, because here he's young. This film is made like 25 years before The Color of Money. Check it out.